And for the final time this week, welcome inside Florence, Kentucky, where the Y'alls and Otters are set to do battle for the third time. A good evening to you. I'm Matthew Will, joining you for another edition of Otters Baseball here on the Otters Digital Network. Pleased you're joining us here on what has turned out to be a beautiful day for a series finale between these two squads. Let's put it this way. 2 games to forget for the Otters. In game 1, they held a 5-1 lead entering the 8th inning. They give up 4 runs at the bottom of the 8th, end up losing in the bottom of the 9th. Then last night, after taking a 2-0 lead on a J.R. Davis home run in the 2nd, the Otters were just kind of snake bitten from there on out. 4 runs for the Y'alls score in the 3rd, and they would not look back. They put up 4 more in the 5th on a grand slam, and then 6 runs scored in the 7th inning. The Otters were able to pull 3 runs off of a position player that came in to pitch the 9th inning. It was certainly not enough, as the Y'alls won game 2 15-6 and won the series against Evansville. It's the first time that the Otters have lost a series since beginning West Division play at the beginning of the month. They had a great stretch of baseball going, but they can look to find some positivity as they exit this series. Brett Adcock will be on the mound, who's in search of a big performance, struggling in each of his last 2. And the Otters have, with their loss last night, fallen an extra game back in the West Division standings. We'll look through those right now. The Steel Corp Frontier League standings. Washington leading the way in the West Division with a 23-12 record. A game and a half back now are the Evansville Otters. Then you have to go another 4 games to 5.5 back to find Joliet. That's when it gets crammed, though. After them, both Gateway and Windy City sit at 6 games back. Schaumburg and Florence both at 7 games back. And Lake Erie, who the Otters will face for 3 games this weekend, round out the pack at 9 games back at 14-21. On the East Division, Quebec retook their lead atop the East Division at a 25-9 record. Ottawa, a game back behind them. That's where the big gap is to the 3rd place team, where Sussex County is 5 games back. New York, 7.5 back. Tri-City and Trois-Rivières, both 9 games back. New Jersey sits at 10 games back. Empire State, 0-33 now after a loss last night to New Jersey. They sit at 24.5 games back in the East Division. Of course, everybody else in action tonight in the Frontier League, everyone just finishing up these 3-game sets in the midweek. Sussex County at Ottawa, looking to finish up that series shortly. Sussex has been very impressive in that series, won the first 2 games, looking for the sweep this evening. In the first inning, just kicking off, Trois-Rivières at Tri-City for the series finale of that one. Washington looking for the sweep at Lake Erie. They're about to start there. Quebec hosting New York. They will get started about 5 or 10 minutes following the start of our game here. Empire State at New Jersey, set to get underway shortly as well. Then an hour back of everybody else will be Windy City at Joliet and Schaumburg at Gateway. That Gateway team heads here to Florence overnight to face the Y'alls in the next 3 nights here in Florence. Of course, we'll keep you updated with the Fox Sports Wyfx Frontier League scoreboard all evening long. Let's take this opportunity to walk you through the starting lineups for both squads. First, for the home team, the Florence Y'alls. They'll kick it off with the designated hitter, Joe Lytle. Then the shortstop, Alberti Chavez, rounded out by the right fielder, Harrison DeNicola. Batting 4th is the first baseman, Brennan Price. Batting 5th, the second baseman, Ethan Stern. Batting 6th, the center fielder, Anthony Brocato. Batting 7th is the catcher, Andres Stormus. Batting 8th is the left fielder, Ian Bibaloni. And batting 9th is the third baseman, Ray Zuberer. On the mounds for Florence this evening is Yoniker Villalobos, who enters the game with, a decent year to him so far. Still looking for a start that can really solidify where the year is going for him. 3-2 overall, a 4.26 ERA. It's lefty versus lefty today. Brett Adcock is the one going for the Otters so far this year. Officially 0-0, as he hasn't had an official decision yet. His first game was outstanding on the road at Ottawa. Gave up no runs on 3 hits in 6 innings of work, but because the Otters could not score a run that entire game, they lost the game 1-0, and Adcock received a no decision. In the last 2 starts for Adcock, which are both at home against Lake Erie, he's lasted just 3 innings in each one. In the first one, 5 runs on 7 hits in 3 innings. The second one, 1 run on 6 hits in 3 innings, but he was already at 70 pitches through the 3 innings, so he was replaced by Bryce Studeville in that one. He's struggled out of the gate in some of these games, giving up those early home runs that have seemed to plague him throughout games. And, trying to answer the impressive debut at Ottawa, this might be the opportunity for him to do it in. Looks like Adcock has finished his warm-ups and is walking back with Felix now. Take that time to show you who is going to be in the 9 for the Otters. New face at the top of the lineup for the first time this year. The Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game is Elijah McNamee, the right fielder. Then it's the center fielder, Miles Gordon, and the left fielder, Jeffrey Baez. In the middle three, first baseman Steven Sinsley, designated hitter J.R. Davis, and catcher Justin Felix. And rounding out 7, 8, 9 is the third baseman Anthony Tarelis, second baseman Andy Armstrong, and shortstop George Khalil. Yes, the big subtraction from that lineup is that there's no Zach Bierman, not at DH, not at first base, not anywhere. Part of that could be with the fact that in the first 2 games of this set, he's 0 for 4, just getting on base once with a walk. This might just be a game to reset him before the Lake Erie series. I'm sure he'll be back in the lineup tomorrow night. Umpires are finished meeting with or they're just about to meet with the 2 head men, and then we've got the starting lineups being announced and the national anthem here from Florence, Kentucky. We'll take a break, and on the other side, we've got first pitch between the Y'alls and the Otters. Beautiful night for baseball here in Florence as the Y'alls and Otters look to close their 3-game set up this evening. Don't go anywhere. We've got first pitch next on the Otters Digital Network. Anthem has been sung, and we're ready for baseball from Florence, Kentucky, as the Otters are searching for redemption after a couple of tough nights here on this ball field. Again, welcome in to this edition of Otters Baseball on the Otters Digital Network. I'm Matthew Will. Pleased that you're joining me here. Elijah McNamee is going to be the man that's leading off the Otters this evening. First time this season he's found himself there to the top of the order. He has a 26-game on-base streak alive. In fact, he failed to get on base in the first game of the season for the Otters. Every game he's played since then, he's managed to get on base, just barely last night, but still managed to get on, and that might be part of the reason he's worked his way towards the top of the lineup. You know, we've seen quite often it be, of course, either Mattis or Gordon, followed by Bierman there in that top two. With no Bierman tonight, this allows two solid contact hitters to lead off the lineup and hopefully get some Otters on quick with Jeffrey Baez quickly behind. Yoniker Villalobos is the man on the mound for the Florence Yalls. Behind the plate is Andres Stormus. That pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or you can give them a call at 812-475-9000. McNamee, Gordon, and Baez due up in the half inning for the Otters. A different look for him. As Andy McCauley, who was not pleased with the effort last night, no two ways about it, looking for some answers. Final warm-up pitch has been tossed, and we're ready to play baseball. Like I mentioned, it has turned out to be a beautiful day here from Florence. Had some rain before game time yesterday, cooled things off yesterday, and then today the temp might have got over 90 for about 5 minutes, it felt like. It's just an all-around good day, and hopefully that plays into the favor of the Otters. Elijah McNamee heads to the plate to get us started here on a Thursday evening. First two games won by the Yalls in this series. Otters need redemption. First pitch, skied foul to the right side, out of play. And we are ready to go playing baseball at 6:38, just a couple of minutes behind. All around, these have been quick games this series. The 0-1 is again put foul to the right side. This one will end up once again out of play, but this one in the stands. All the games of this series, pretty short thus far. 3:13 on Tuesday night, just under 3 hours last night at 2:59. Now the Otters head to Florence or Lake Erie after this, and those two have had plenty of long games this season. As McNamee takes a off-speed pitch just high of the zone, and the count goes to 1-2. McNamee was trending towards the bottom of the team in hitters and then surged over 300 in the span of just a couple of weeks. He's going to take a called strike three to start off this game. So it's quickly 1 up, 1 down for the Otters as Miles Gordon will make his way to the plate. In last night's game, Miles Gordon 0 for 4, reaching base once on a drop third strike. Little lefty-lefty matchup here. Gordon just sends it back into the netting. This is an Otters team that has not been good against lefties. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. When they're facing left-handed starters, they've been even worse. Overall in the year, they're 3-6 in games that it's been a lefty starter, 18-7 against right-handed starters. So this is a big challenge for them as well to see if they can start to move that in the right direction. The 0-2 to Gordon, pushed out towards right field. And DeNicola's not going to really need to go anywhere, but it goes over his head. Must have lost it in the sun. And Gordon will haul his way into second base on the air out in right field. Looked like it was going right at DeNicola and then must have lost it a bit in the sun. Skied right over the head. They're actually going to give Miles Gordon a double there. It'll bring up the hard-hitting left fielder Jeffrey Baez. He managed to hit last night and had a triple on Tuesday night. Of course, he was stranded at third there in that ninth inning after the triple. So 1 out, then runner on second. Baez at the plate now. His first offering. Just misses on the outside high corner with a fastball for strike or for ball one. Yeah, on the year this season for the Otters. I'll keep going after the next pitch. The 1-0 is on its way to Jeffrey Baez. They're going to go check on the runner at second. Just about an errant throw. On the season, the Otters are hitting just about 300 against righties. Meanwhile, against lefties, they're hitting 240. So finding a way to gain some consistency in a game like this would be huge. 1-0 is the count to Jeffrey Baez. There's a runner on second with 1 out. Curveball falls in for strike one. That's a nice pitch. Baez is one that his strikeout rate's going to go up exponentially if you put it high inside or low away. He just has a weakness against some of those pitches. Setting up on the low outside corner is Stormus. Here comes the 1-1. It's a swinging strike two on a pitch that was pretty much right across the zone, but a bit high. Otters enter the game 21-13, sitting a game and a half back of first place in the West Division. Still a lot of time, obviously, in the season, but nice to be in a good spot right now. 1-2 is the count to Jeffrey Baez. Sent that way. Puts it right back up the middle. Stern will play it on 2 hops. The throw to first is in time, but the play will advance Miles Gordon to third. So it's a productive fielder's choice out there from Jeffrey Baez. That'll bring up the first baseman, Steven Sinsley. Made it on base once last night with a walk. He came around to score, and because he came around to score in that inning, he's maintaining a bit of a streak. 8 games in a row, he's scored a run. Defense is playing the shift to the right side, expecting Sinsley to pull. If he can go right back up the middle, that would help him, though. First pitch, just missed to the low side under the knees. Villalobos up on the mound, 3-2 this season. ERA just over 4. Tell you what, if he finds a really good start this year, he might start really cruising. The 1-0 is on the way to Steven Sinsley with a runner at third and 2 outs. And time is called right before the pitch gets sent home by Sinsley. Miles Gordon has himself a bit of an extra little bit of a lead because, well, there's no one covering him there at third. The third baseman, Zuberer's playing probably halfway between second and third. The 1-0 on the way to Sinsley. Puts it out towards right field. Chasing back as Danicola towards the wall. Gone! 2 runs for the Otters on a 2-run home run for Steven Sinsley. And they lead by 2 in the first. Third time this week they've led 2-0. Big fly for the big man, Sinsley. And just like that, that costly mistake in right field by Danicola on the Gordon double comes back to bite the Y'alls. And the man who hit a home run last night, up right now, the designated hitter J.R. Davis, in the second inning of yesterday's game. He put one in off the bottom of the scoreboard out in left field. They gave the Otters a 2-0 lead yesterday. First offering to Davis. He watches it go by for a called strike one on the high outside corner. Fastball there from Villalobos. The Otters continue to pace themselves at the top of the league in home runs. 0-1 on the way to Davis. Curveball just missed on the outside edge. That's a nice pitch from Villalobos. Guarantee he's going to pull a couple strikeouts with that pitch this evening. 1-1 on the way to JR. Again, watches it go past. This one stays outside. The count's at 2-1. Defense playing straight up for J.R. Davis as the 2-1 comes home. He lifts it high and foul to the right side. It's going to get out of play and end up in the fans' seating area. And the count evens up at 2-2 for J.R. Davis. Davis taking a little bit of extra time before stepping back in here. And the 2-2's on its way. Push to the right once again. Ends up in foul territory and up on the berm over there. J.R. Davis, a couple years here with the Otters. Spent time with the Washington Wild Things a couple years ago. Was an affiliated ball with the St. Louis Cardinals. Sends one right back up the middle. Tough play there by Chavez. The throw to first in time. And the side is retired, but not before 2 runs score for the Otters on a 2-run blast from Steven Sinsley to right field. We head to the bottom half of the first inning. Otters lead by a pair. To the bottom of the first we go, and we welcome Brett Adcock to the mounds. Making his 4th start on the season. It's his 3rd start with Justin Felix behind the plate. That pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. That pitcher catcher battery of Adcock and Felix has played in 2 games together this year. Together, they've given up 6 runs on 13 hits across 6 innings of work for a combined ERA of 9.0 in those 2 games. Adcock has his family in attendance this evening. They've spent the whole week with him here in Florence, and I believe that a couple of them are going to travel up to Lake Erie as well to keep supporting the Otters. Always great to see a player's families make way to these away games and be part of the away cheering section for the Otters. First pitch is probably a little bit low, maybe outside. Ball 1 on the off speed there from Brett Adcock, rocking that bright red glove that he debuted a couple of starts ago. He does not have the same standout mustache that he had the last start. First pitch, or the second pitch to Lytle, is sent out towards right center field, down for a base hit. McNamee will play it off a wall, and it'll be a stand-up. Well, he'll end up sliding, but it would have been a stand-up double for Joe Lytle to lead off the game for the Alls. And this is where Adcock has to prove some things. Prove that a leadoff base hit is not going to affect you the way it has in recent games. Shortstop Alberti Chavez will make his way to the plate. Last night, Chavez went 4 for 5 with 4 singles. One of them had 2 RBIs attached to it. You can't get much better than an evening like that for him. On Tuesday evening, 1 for 4 with a 2-run double for him. Adcock, the Otters' lone lefty now. Sends the first pitch to Chavez home. He puts it foul to the right side. It'll end up just about in the parking lot over there. Brady Tedesco used to be in the bullpen for the Otters. He was the other lefty in this Otters pitching staff, but he was released a couple of days ago, so it's now just Adcock when it comes to left-handed pitchers, which means the Otters have a lot of teams that they'll be facing that are going to bring the left-heavy lineups to face those righties. We saw Lake Erie do it, and they succeeded in one of those games, and in the other two games sure made them interesting. As Chavez is now looking at a 1-1 count, taking ball one to the outside. Defensive alignment for the Otters. Baez, Gordon, McNamee across the outfield. Tarelis, Khalil, Armstrong, Sinsley left to right across the infield. The 1-1 from Adcock. Had a long stare down with the runner out there on second. Again, it's fouled up to the right side. Ends up in the restaurant area to the right side. And it's a 1-2 count to Alberti Chavez. Right after the team went to Gateway, Adcock actually hit the IL for, I believe it was 10-day stretch. It was only the 7-day IL before he came off for that game against Lake Erie. All was well for him, and this is just his second appearance since then. The 1-2 towards Chavez. Bounces in. Count evens at 2-2. And if you didn't know, Adcock has a very long history of minor league baseball. So he was drafted by the Houston Astros in the 4th round of 2016 out of the University of Michigan. Bounced around with Double-A Corpus Christi, Single-A Blues Creek. Then he ended up with Sioux City in the American Association for a couple of years. Was traded to Evansville in the first month of the season this year. And now here he is as an Otter. Put together 8 seasons of minor league experience. And the Otters are sure glad to have him. He's been a huge boost to morale. If nothing else, he sure brings a different character to the locker room every single day. 2-2, Chavez thinks about going rounds, and it stays inside for ball 3. Gets away from Felix for a second. No worries, though. The runner, Lytle, will stay put at second. Adcock slowly making his way back up onto the mound. Needs an out with this at-bat. Really cannot afford to let the first 2 on. That's when he gets hurt. Shakes off a couple of pitches. Finally has the one he likes. Long stare down with Lytle at second. Here comes the 3-2, and no, he turns around and looks towards the runner there at third. 3-2 is the count. Adcock shakes off a pitch, then has the one he wants. Here comes the stare down to second. The 3-2 on the way home. Bounces in ball 4, and there's runners on first and second. No outs here in the bottom of the first. Kind of seemed like Adcock was a little too worried about the runner at second to focus on the batter at the plate. But now he's got runners on first and second with no outs as Harrison DeNicola makes his way to the plate. Tell you what, DeNicola last night, 3 base hits, 2 of them had RBIs attached to it. But on Tuesday night, he had a walk in the 8th inning that helped bridge the gap into the Y'alls winning the game. Adcock really taking his time up there, trying to avoid a 3rd straight poor start to a game. First pitch to Nicola, low outside, ball 1. The other thing you're going to see with Adcock is the fastball's not really challenging the low 90s or the mid 90s. You're going to see maybe 90, 91 in the game, but the fastball really lives in the 87 to 89 region, and his off speed is just in the low 80s. So not a whole lot of difference in velocity from him. 1-0 bounces outside, and Felix is able to dive after it, keep it in front of him. So the runners stay at first and second. Count heads to 2-0. Don't forget that the Otters, of course, have the 3 games this weekend at Lake Erie. Then they return home for 3 against Joliet. next week on Tuesday night for a Taco Tuesday at Bossy Field. If you want to buy your tickets, you can get them on EvansvilleOtters.com or visit the box office anytime this week. Our lovely front office staff would love to pick out the perfect seat with you. 2-0 way up top. Adcock just doesn't seem to be able to hit the zone right now. He has managed 8 pitches so far in the game, and only 3 of them have been strikes. And I believe 2 of the 3 were foul balls. The 3-0 to DeNicola. Outside, ball 4. The bases are loaded with no outs. And, well, there's not a lot of Frontier League hitters that I would like to see up less than the man coming to the plate now. First baseman Brennan Price. He had a grand slam in last night's game in the 5th inning. I would say that was really the couple of runs that really put the game away and kind of took the hopes out of the sails of the Otters. Adcock really taking his time there on the mounds. First pitch to Brennan Price on the way. High, ball 1. Oh no, it must have caught the elbows. I guess that's because Price is 6'9". The strike zone is a little bit larger there. So it's an 0-1 count. Price is 2 for 3 on the season with the bases loaded. Takes a pitch outside. The count evens up at 1-1. Adcock is desperately needing something to go his way on the mounds in order to at least limit this offensive production to maybe 1 or 2 in the first. Hard to imagine he does something that keeps the Alls off the board completely. The 1-1 on the way to Price. Outside. Felix keeps it in front of him, but just barely. And the count goes to 2-1. I don't think the Otters are warming anyone up out there in left field yet. If they were to, I would assume it would be Bryce Studeville. Bases are jammed for Brennan Price, who already has 1 grand slam in the series. The 2-1 headed his way. A half swing, checks it, and it's a called strike 2. Count evens up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Brennan Price's grand slam last night went straight out to right center field. Adcock really taking his time between pitches. Ready on the 2-2 to Price. On the way. Lifted high and mid-deep to left field. Baez gets underneath it, brings it in for 1 out. The throw home. Will it be in time? Close play. I think he got him. He did. What a throw from Jeffrey Baez in left field. It's the 3rd time this year he's gunned a man down from out there. I tell you what. No doubt there from the Otters. They just kind of expected it to happen. Big play limits the run. Lytle tried to advance. He's caught advancing by the big man, Jeffrey Baez. And there's 1 down with runners on first and second now. Sorry, 2 down with runners on first and second. Adcock will take his time before stepping back up on the mound. He's facing Ethan Stern this time around. Stern last night had 3 base hits. All of them singles, 1 with 1 RBI, 1 with 2 RBIs. Adcock waiting on the mound. Here comes the first pitch to Stern. A check swing that fouls it back over the ballpark, and I believe it probably ends up in the party area over there. Otters lead by a pair here in the bottom half of the first inning. Brett Adcock has been gifted a play from his left fielder to keep the Alls scoreless. 0-1 is the count to Ethan Stern. 2 outs, runners on first and second. The 0-1 catches the zone in the high outside corner. A fastball there from Adcock. At first is DeNicola, second, Alberti Chavez. Both reached on walks. Neither advanced on the flyout. Adcock with the long wait on the mound, hanging his throwing arm over, and he steps off for a second. Defense is playing for Stern to pull it to the left side a bit, as Tarelis is playing very close to that left field line. The 0-2, it way inside, and it gets past Felix. That just about hit Stern if he didn't jump out of the way, so Felix really had no shot at it. Both runners will advance on what I believe should be a wild pitch. 1-2 is the count with 2 outs here. Wild pitch indeed, advances both runners. Quick meeting there between Adcock and Felix to just go over signs. Quick discussion out there at second base between the runner Alberti Chavez and Otters second baseman Andy Armstrong. Runners on second and third now after the wild pitch. The count is 1-2 to Ethan Stern with 2 outs. Adcock just needs 1 strike to escape this big jam. 1-2. Curveball goes to the dirt, and the count evens up at 2-2. If Stern can find a way on base, Anthony Brocato on deck for the Y'alls. Breezy day today. Wind is blowing out. I mean, it is coming in as well, but mostly out towards the right field corner. Kind of helps Sinsley's home run, I do believe. The 2-2 to Stern. Sends it bouncing towards Khalil at short. Plays on 2 hops. The throw to first is in plenty of time. No runs will score in the first thanks to a wonderful throw from Jeffrey Baez from left field. After 1 full inning, it's Otters 2, Y'alls 0 on the Otters Digital Network. Top of the second, and the Otters lead by a pair off a 2-run home run from Steven Sinsley. And then there in the bottom half of the first, Jeffrey Baez made sure that the Y'alls would not score a run, gunned a runner down from deep left field. Not the first time he's done that this season, and I've got a feeling it won't be the last either. Otters will lead off the second inning with the catcher Justin Felix, third baseman Anthony Tarelis, and second baseman Andy Armstrong. No Zach Bierman, no Dakota Phillips, and no Brody Tanksley in the lineup tonight. Those are the 3 bats available on the bench for the Otters if need be. Ball 1 inside starts the count for Justin Felix. The 1-0 on its way home. Hefty swing. He was a bit behind the fastball, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. Well, I certainly think the rain scared a few individuals off yesterday. Certainly no doubt that the weather is going to be perfect tonight, and there is great attendance for tonight's game. 1-1 is the breaking ball to the outside edge. Falls into the zone, and the count heads to 1-2. Pretty deep lineup for the Y'alls out there defensively, and it's a swinging strike three for Justin Felix to start off the second. And both of these innings thus far have started with a strikeout for the Otters. That will bring up the third baseman, Anthony Tarelis. Tell you what a week Anthony Tarelis has had. Earned his first professional hit on Sunday at home. Then last night, earned his first multi-hit outing and got his first professional home run. Hit a solo shot to right field. Takes the ball inside for ball one. And he's looking at a 1-0 count on the way. Stays low. Counts at 2-0 now for Anthony Tarelis, who, tell you what, if he can be a stable bat in the lineup and be as good defensively as he's been thus far, he might challenge his way into a starting spot on this 9. 2-0's way high and outside, and Tarelis is looking at a 3-0 count. Defense once again playing pretty far back. The 3-0. Tarelis lets it go, and it's a 4-pitch walk for the new man. And in back-to-back innings, the first man strikes out, the second one gets on base. That'll bring up the second baseman, Andy Armstrong. With a runner on first and 1 out here in the top of the second inning, Otters lead by a pair. Armstrong did not play in last night's game. It's his second night off in the last 5 games. First offering towards him. Lets it go by for ball one. Must have been a tad bit inside, I would guess. Didn't look like it missed, but the 1-0 is next to him. Watch out for the bunt. Third baseman's playing far enough back. I wouldn't be surprised to see him drop it. The 1-0, way high and outside. And Armstrong continues to go ahead in the count. Otters are blessed to be sitting at a 2-0 advantage right now. The Y'alls had the bases loaded with no outs in the bottom of the first. And thanks to Jeffrey Baez's defensive work out in left field, no runs scored. Meeting at the mound there between Villalobos and Stormus. Take a look through the defensive alignment for the Y'alls this evening. Bibaloni, Brocato, Zanicola left to right across the outfield. At third, Zuber, Chavez at short, Stern at second, Price is at first. Of course, Stormus is behind the plate. 2-0 is the count to Andy Armstrong. And it's sent his way now. Lets it go by for a called strike one on the inside edge. Villalobos had thrown 6 straight balls before that one. Tarelis with a decent lead there at first. They're going to go check on him. He's back in plenty of time. I've said it every game, and I'll continue to say it every game until we finally get a chance to see it. We don't really know the speed capabilities of Anthony Tarelis yet. He hasn't really got a chance to prove it yet. 2-1, the count to Andy Armstrong. Watches it go by for ball 3. Man, that must have been just low. Couple of these balls to Armstrong have looked really close to the zone. He's just been gifted a couple of extra pitches, I suppose. 3-1 is the count with a runner on first and 1 out. Pitch is on the way. There goes Tarelis, and it's fouled back into the netting. Not a super great jump for Tarelis. And he spent half the time running to second, looking back towards home plate. So the count is full for Andy Armstrong with 1 out and 1 on. This is a big at-bat for Andy. Armstrong has a hit in 3 of his last 6 games. Sorry, 3 of his last 5 games. And 5 of his last 7. The 3-2. Pushed out to the right side. Foul will end up in the parking lot. And the count remains full for Andy Armstrong. Otters trying to keep the foot on the gas here in the second inning. And, they've really learned here in the first couple of games that no lead is safe against any team in the Frontier League. So any insurance you can get is important. A 3-2 to Armstrong. Ooh, off-speed just about got him. He's able to stay defensive and push it back towards the party deck on the right side. Count stays full. Long at bat for Armstrong. Good work for him to stay defensive in there, and if nothing else, at least he's really worked the pitch count up for Villalobos. The Australian George Khalil is in the on-deck circle. The 3-2. Armstrong puts it out towards right field. DeNicola trying to find it in the sun, and he does bring it in for out number 2. Tell you what, it is very Bossy Field-esque here, just like it is back home in Evansville. That right fielder has the most issue with where the sun is located as it's going down, having to field fly balls with the sun directly in your eyes. Tarelis will stay at first as the shortstop George Khalil makes his way to the plate. First pitch. Catches the inside edge for strike 1 against George Khalil. Otters trying to keep this second inning alive. The 0-1. Khalil, hefty swing, and he's down 0-2 in the count. Decent lead for Tarelis there at first. Might see him go on this pitch. The 0-2 to Khalil. Stays high, ball 1. Tarelis did not go. Otters are returning home next Tuesday night. We'd love to see you in attendance there at Bossy Field. You guys have crushed it this season. It's been great to see so many fans tune out to the 3rd oldest ballpark in the country. A throw over to first, checks on Tarelis. He's back in time. The count's still at 1-2 towards George Khalil. 1-2 the count. Way high and outside. And the count evens at 2 balls, 2 strikes for George Khalil. Very small lead for Tarelis these last couple of pitches. This time he extends it a little bit further there at first. The 2-2 stays just a tad bit inside. The Y'all's faithful don't agree with the call, but the count heads to full. Tarelis will not be held at first. He'll be running with the pitch. Two outs, full count to George Khalil. On the way, swinging strike 3. Otters unable to add to their lead after a 1-out walk for Tarelis. We've played 1.5. Otters lead by a pair. And we head to the bottom of the second inning. Otters still lead by 2 after a first inning 2-run home run from Steven Sinsley. Brett Adcock in the bottom of the first loaded the bases with no outs, but it was able to get out of it thanks to a rock-solid throw from his left fielder Baez. First pitch to Anthony Brocato to lead off the inning. High and outside, ball 1. Defense is playing rather deep for Brocato. Outfield shift a bit to the left. 1-0 the count towards Brocato. Hefty swing, but he was way out in front of the off-speed pitch. 1-1 the count. Adcock taking his time up there as he sends home the 1-1. Just misses on the outside edge with the fastball. And we're seeing a different approach on the mound from Adcock. The first inning, whether it was runners on or not, he hung the throwing arm out and leaned way over to look in for this count. This time he's doing a full windup. 2-1. Runs low and inside, and the count extends to 3-1 for Anthony Brocato. The 3-1 from Adcock. Swinging strike 2. Sends the count to full. So this is where the Otters will hope Adcock can capitalize. Full count pitches with nobody on. The 3-2 catches the high outside corner, and Brocato will sit down with a strikeout looking to start off the second. And it's the first German-American make strikeout of the game for Brett Adcock. That'll bring up the catcher, Andres Stormus. He had a solo home run in last night's game. Came in the 8th inning. I guess you could call it an insurance run. It was a run that didn't end up mattering in the grand scheme of things. First offering to him. Ball outside, pretty close to where that strikeout pitch was called the last at-bat. Again, the infield playing towards the edges. Outfield a little slanted left. The 1-0 to Stormus catches the zone on the inside edge. Count evens is at 1-1. Adcock once again going back with the fastball there. 1-1 is the count on the way from Adcock. Again goes the fastball. This one's fouled back towards the parking lot on the first base side. And the count goes to 1-2 in favor of Brett Adcock. No one on, 1 out here in the bottom half of the second inning. The 1-2 from Adcock. Curveball sent out towards left field. Baez will chase it, and it's off the wall. Picked up by Baez. The throw out to second, and it'll be a very long single for Andres Stormus. I tell you what, the wind coming in from left field is what kept that in the ballpark. Hard hit, really long single for Andres Stormus with 1 out. Brings up the left fielder, Ian Bibaloni. Bibaloni was a substitution in the defensive side last night. Ended up having a couple at-bats. Went 0 for 1 with a strikeout and a walk. So Sinsley will now have to keep the runner close there at first. First pitch to Bibaloni, up high, ball 1. Otters will go halfway in the infield, ready for the double play ball. Adcock sends home the 1-0. Curveball catches the high outside corner. That's a nice pitch from Adcock. Again, the defense set up ready for a double play. Sinsley trying to keep the runner close there at first. The 1-1 headed home. Again with the curveball, and again a called strike. This one catches the inside edge. Nice work from Adcock with a, if it works, I might as well go back with it. 1-2 to Bibaloni. He had a 1-2 on Stormy. He hit him for a single. Way up high for ball 2, the count evens. So he went fastball for a ball, back-to-back curveballs, both were called strikes, and then back to the fastball up high for ball 2. Andres Stormy with a small lead at first as the 2-2 comes home to Bibaloni for a called strike 3. Just caught the low inside corner at the knees of Bibaloni, and it's the second German-American Bank strikeout of the inning for Brett Adcock. That will bring up the 9-hole hitter, third baseman Ray Zuberer, who last night got on base twice in fielder's choice opportunities, came around to score in both of those opportunities as well. Still without a hit in this 2-game series thus far. First pitch towards him. Low outside, ball 1. Defense will go very far back to the back edge of the infield. I'll call it infield dirt. It's all turf here. Every inch of the playing surface. But where the dirt lining is where all the defensive players are. A 1-0 to Zuberer. Sends one out towards right field. McNamee will just watch it go, and it is gone. 2-run home run has tied the game at 2 runs apiece. And I promise that will not be the last 2 home runs we've seen of the day. With the wind blowing the way it is, balls are just carrying out there towards the right side of the outfield. The game is tied in the bottom of the second inning after a 2-run home run from the 9-hole hitter Ray Zuberer, who until that point was without a hit in the series. Back to the top of the order we go as the DH Joe Lytle will head in. He led off the game with a double, reached third, but then failed on a tag-up attempt to head home, was gunned down by Jeffrey Baez. Shows bunt, pulls away, and it's a called strike. Once again, the Otters playing very deep in the infield, trying to just get one. 0-1 the count to Joe Lytle. Misses outside, count even to the ball and a strike. Brett Adcock has allowed early runs in his 3rd straight start. The 1-1 to Lytle. Works way outside, and Lytle has to keep himself honest to make sure he doesn't swing at it. Count goes to 2-1. The 2-1 towards Lytle. Called strike 2. As the breaking ball just caught the inside edge. And the count ends up at 2-2. Quick next pitch from Adcock. 2-2 falls low and outside, and that's a full count. When once again, in back-to-back night, the Otters have taken a lead and in the very next inning, given it right away. The 3-2 to Joe Lytle is chopped foul right behind home plate, and we'll have to do it again. Felix behind the plate for the Otters this evening. A new look from last night as Phillips was behind the plate. They've nearly gone back and forth every game the last some time. The 3-2, called strike 3, and all 3 outs of the inning are called strikeouts for Brett Adcock. He allows 2 runs on a 2-run jam, and we're tied at 2 as we head to the 3rd inning. And we head to the top of the third inning. Back to the top of the order for the Otters as the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Elijah McNamee, heads to the plate. He struck out looking his first time up. And the first pitch of this at-bat, down low, ball one. The 1-0, and it's a hefty swing from McNamee. He's a bit behind it. The count evens up at a ball and a strike. The 1-1 on the way to McNamee. Lifted out towards right field. Chasing towards it is Danicola. He comes in a few steps and brings it in for out number one. That will bring up the center fielder, Miles Gordon, who doubled in the first inning, came around to score on Steven Sinsley's two-run home run. First pitch to Gordon, he shows bunt, and it's a called strike as he pulls away. The 0-1. Skied high and foul to the left side. It'll get out of play. And Miles Gordon will slowly step back into the box. The 0-1 misses at the knees. Didn't miss by too much, but it must have stayed just a hair low. The 1-2 goes high. Did he go? No, he didn't, says the third base umpire. And the count goes to 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Miles Gordon. With 1 out, nobody on here in the top of the third inning. Wind is blowing hard out of left field. The 2-2 towards Gordon. He sends it foul. Will it get out of play behind home plate? It goes off of the netting, so it will stay far enough away. The count remains 2-2. Just like every game, we ask that you go ahead and use the YouTube comments section if you'd like to let us know where you're listening from. Always great to see the spread of the Otter faithful out there. A 2-2 to Gordon. Hit hard to the right side. Through for a base hit with 1 out. Strong hit for Miles Gordon. He's 2 for 2 on the day. And that will bring up the left fielder, Jeffrey Baez, who grounded out in a fielder's choice his first time. Baez has spent a long time in these last couple of weeks recording some of his batting practice sessions, slowing it down, trying to analyze his swing, see where he can improve. First pitch he sees is ball 1 on the outside. Of course, he did something right when the team went to Schaumburg. He went 9 for 10 in the series and reached in 10 of his 11 at-bats. The 1-0 stays inside, and it's a 2-0 count to Jeffrey Baez. Tell you what, I wouldn't put it past Andy McCauley and the Otters to try to steal a base here with Miles Gordon there at first base. Decent lead for him now. Shuffles back and forth a couple times. A 2-0 to Baez. Runner does not go. And it stays low and outside for ball 3. Defense is playing for the double play. Miles Gordon with a big lead again at first. Baez waiting on a 3-0. Outside ball 4, and there's runners on first and second with just 1 out. And the walk for Baez is enough to extend his on-base streak to 4. And there will be a mound visit now for Florence. Let's walk you through the game thus far. It started in the top of the first inning with the Otters scoring 2 runs on a 2-run home run from Steven Sinsley. Then in the bottom half of the second, the Yalls answered with a 2-run homer of their own by third baseman Ray Zuberer. That tied the game at 2 runs apiece. Both starters have looked all right thus far, though. Otters got bailed out, or more importantly, Brett Adcock got bailed out in the first inning with his defense, and he looked better in the second inning, I thought. Meeting at the mound has concluded for the Yalls as Steven Sinsley heads to the plate with 2 runners on. Already has a 2-run homer on the day. Long wait on the mound for Villalobos. First pitch to Steven Sinsley. There goes the runner to third. Gordon out there. Did the ball fall out? The ball fell out, and there goes Baez, I'm sorry. Took advantage of it out there, made his way to second. Gordon was the first one to steal. I think the ball fell out of the third baseman Zuberer's glove. Baez saw that the ball was gone and took off towards second. That's a big man that can run out there. Over 230 stolen bases in Jeffrey Baez's 891 game career. So there's runners on second and third now as the 0-1 count to Steven Sinsley with 1 out is on its way. 0-1 is sent out towards left field. Shallow left field. Long run for Bibaloni. He brings it in. Gordon will go halfway after the tag, and no run will score. So Sinsley unable to do anything with a scoring chance there, just a fly out to left. And it'll bring up Jeffrey Davis with 2 runners on. So officially, they are going to give a steal to both Gordon and Baez. Something we haven't seen the Otters do much in this series is actually try to steal bases. 2-2 score with 2 outs in the top of the third. The Otters have runners on second and third for J.R. Davis. First pitch is a called strike right at the elbows, and jumping out of his stance was Stormus to walk Miles Gordon back to third. Runners on second and third. 0-1 is the count for J.R. Davis. The 0-1 inside, count evens up at a ball and a strike. J.R. Davis had a 2-run home run last night and an RBI single in the ninth. In game 1 of our series, a double and a triple. So in some form, he's hit for the cycle in the series. The 1-1 for him. Called strike 2. That's a nice pitch at the high inside corner. And the Otters are down to their potential last pitch in this inning. Runners on second and third with 2 outs in the top of the third inning, tied at 2 runs apiece. The 1-2 to Davis. Swinging, strike 3. And the Otters are unable to do anything with runners on second and third with 1 out. They end up getting nothing in the inning. And after 2.5, we're still tied at 2 runs apiece here on the Otters Digital Network. Brett Adcock returns to the mound with the Otters defense. For the bottom of the third inning, Otters leave a couple of men in scoring position in that last half inning. Can't do anything with them. That's another one I hope we're not talking about at the end of the evening. Alberti Chavez at the plate now. Walked in his first at-bat. Made it to third, but was left there. First pitch just missed on the inside edge for ball one. Felix held the ball for an extra couple seconds. I think he thought it should have been a called strike. The 1-0 from Brett Adcock. Curveball catches the outside edge. A lot of movement on that thing. So the count's even at 1-1 strike. Defense playing with a bit of a shift to the left. Way outside. And it's a 2-1 count. McNamee bathed in sun out there in right field. The 2-1 from Adcock. Skied out towards center field. Gordon will chase back 15, 20 feet to his left side and haul it in for an easy out number one. It'll bring up the right fielder Harrison DeNicola. Walked his first time up. Stuck at second at the end of things. DeNicola had a good evening last night. Got on base all 5 times. 3 of them with hits. 2 of them with walks. And 2 of his hits had RBIs attached to him. First pitch to him. A called strike one on the outside edge. I think that's one of the first times all evening we've seen this umpire behind the plate, Justin Franz, actually call a strike on the outside. The 0-1. Almost the same place. Must have fallen just a bit out of the zone. And evens the count at 1-1. DeNicola showed bunt there, pulled away before it got home. Here comes the 1-1. Swinging strike two. He was way out in front of that breaking ball. And the count's at 1-2. Again, the defense playing hugged towards the lines, trying to avoid the extra base hits. The 1-2, off speed, falling out of the zone. They get DeNicola to chase out there. And it is the 4th German-American Bank strikeout of the game for Brett Adcock. That's the first one that's been a swinging strikeout. And it'll bring up the big bat of first baseman Brennan Price. If you missed me mentioning it at some other points in this weekend or this week series, Brennan Price is 6'9", 300 pounds, and he sure shows it when he gets into the box. Towers over everybody. A check swing results in ball one on the outside edge. Of course, there's pros and cons to having that height advantage. The con, of course, being that bigger strike zone he sees. The 1-0. Big swing on a pitch that just dove towards the dirt. It's one of those that a batter gets fooled on. It looks like they've got the 7-iron out. Otters saw plenty of those last night. The 1-1 fouled back towards the netting. That's a 1-2 count for him. Adcock has really started to settle in a little bit better since his first inning. Did give up that big 2-run home run, but other than that, I think he's looked much better. The 1-2 just misses outside. Competitive pitch, but Price does not chase after it this time. Shielding his eyes over on the first base side as first base umpire Kurt Brandon. As the 2-2 heads home to Price. Again outside and low. Full count now to Brendan Price. On the year, Price has 15 walks and 24 strikeouts. The 3-2 pushed to the left side, but it will end up fouled just barely. Jeffrey Baez runs over, grabs the ball, and tosses it into a crowd of children. Someone just got lucky and has a souvenir to take home now. 3-2 is the count towards Brennan Price. Adcock readies on the mound and shoots it home. Right back up the middle, down for a base hit. Hard-earned single for Brennan Price in that at-bat. And it's a 2-out single that will give the second baseman Ethan Stern an opportunity now. Stern so far with a ground out in the game. Grounded straight at shortstop. That ended the first inning with the bases loaded. First offering to him. Chop to the left side. Tarelis plays it on one hop. Throw over to first in time. Just barely, though. And that will end the inning. A 2-out base hit will not come back to hurt the Otters. And after 3 completes, we are still tied at 2 runs apiece. What do you know? Third night in a row, and we're having an exciting matchup between these two teams, both keeping the game close, both putting up some solid offensive opportunities, but both catching in on just a 2-run home run each, and that's been all the scoring we've seen thus far. Otters will get us started in the top of the 4th inning with Justin Felix, Anthony Tarelis, and Andy Armstrong. Felix struck out his first time up, but one of his foul balls was struck really hard in that at-bat. If he can just kind of even that up, he might give himself a chance at a strong extra base hit. First pitch to Felix, high outside, ball 1. One of the things worth noting is just how far these pitchers have had to go so far. 60 pitches already in the game for Villalobos there on the mound, as he sends home a 1-0 that's swung out hard by Felix and missed. Count evens at 1-1. Of the 60 pitches thrown by Villalobos, 36 of the 60 are strikes. As for Adcock, he's thrown 62 pitches, 33 are strikes. So very similar pitching performances. A called strike 2 sends the count to 1-2 for Justin Felix. The 1-2 to Felix stays low, evens the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Close play there, but Felix kind of knew, or at least seemed to know the whole time, that it was low. The 2-2 on the way for Felix. Thought it was a called strike 3. Must have missed maybe on the inside a bit. And Felix is going to get a extra pitch at a full count. Defense is playing a bit slanted left out in the outfield, straight up in the infield. 3-2 is lifted high and foul towards the parking lot on the first base side. And Felix will step back in, still looking at a full count. Three-two is the count. Outside, ball four. It's a hard-earned walk for Justin Felix. Good to see him get on base. Keep in mind that the Otters continue their season tomorrow night with a 7:05 first pitch against the Lake Erie Crushers. That's 6:05 back home in Evansville. They'll face off once more on Saturday at 6:05 Lake Erie time, which is 5:05 back in Evansville. Then it's an early start on Sunday, 2:05 at Lake Erie, 1:05 back home at Evansville. First pitch to Tarelis is sent foul to the right side. Will end up out in the berm area out in right field. It's been fun to see Tarelis really fall into a comfortable place in this lineup. The 0-1 for him. Works low and inside, caught the edge of the zone. So it's an 0-2 count for Tarelis. He didn't seem to love the call, but he's got to deal with it now on an 0-2. Long wait on the mound from Villalobos. The 0-2 towards Tarelis. Sent bouncing foul to the left side. Tarelis has started 2 professional games now in his career. In his first professional game he started, he got his first professional base hit. Last night in his second one, he had a 2-hit outing and managed his first professional home run to right field last night. Didn't even need much wind. In fact, that was one of the points of the night where there wasn't any wind. An 0-2 to Tarelis. He fouls it off of the mitt of Stormus and lives to see another pitch. The foul tip went off of the edge of the mitt of Stormus and ended up all the way back by the backstop, so the count remains at 0-2. No outs, runner on first is Justin Felix. The 0-2 to Tarelis. Sent to the left side, through for a base hit. And he's got hits in all 3 of his games he's started so far. Atta boy, Anthony. Runners on first and second with no outs for the Otters. As the second baseman, Andy Armstrong, heads up. And wisely, the entire side of the left of the infield is already starting to walk inwards. And here comes the right side. Armstrong's the guy that can lay a bunt down very effectively and quite often will earn his way to first with a base hit on it as well. Seems to be some confusion from the Florence defense out there. A lot of walking around and pointing. Armstrong steps in. Outside infielders are playing in. The inside ones are playing a little bit deeper. First pitch, he shows bunt, and it's back into the netting behind home plate. Price was already halfway in on the right side of the infield. Getting to an interesting point in the game where the shadows are covering about half of the infield, which means that the second that ball is released by the pitcher on the mound, it turns from a glowing white dot to then instantly dark heading towards you. The 0-1 to Armstrong, showing bunt the whole way, and gets off, and Felix is going to break for third, and an errant throw allows him to reach third. Oh boy, and a big smile over there at third, realizing I got caught off and really had to go. Armstrong missed the bunt attempt, even though he was showing bunt the whole way. It managed to get into the glove of Stormus. He tried to throw out to second to keep Felix close. Because he threw it a little bit away, Felix ran towards third. The throw to third was errant, and it allowed Felix to reach there. Runners on the corners with an 0-2 count to Andy Armstrong. He's going to have to swing the bat this time. And here comes the 0-2 to Andy Armstrong. Low inside, ball one. They're going to give Felix a stolen base of third. Thought they might have an error on that throw out there, as it had no chance of getting to third and still getting Felix. Regardless, 1-2 the count. Did it catch the zone? It did. Called strike three to Armstrong. He does not like the call, but it's the first out of the inning and the fifth strikeout of the game for Villalobos. There's one out, runners on the corners, as the shortstop George Khalil makes his way to the plate. Strikeout in his first at-bat. Didn't manage a hit in last night's game, but he did have 2 hits in Tuesday's game. First pitch to Khalil. The off speed, he checks his swing. It's a called strike. Defense is playing straight up and in double play positions. Runners on the corners for the Otters with 1 out and an 0-1 count to George Khalil. The 0-1 on the way. Khalil puts it out towards right center field. Going towards the wall. Gone. No, it bounced off of the, probably a foot or so short. So bright out there you could barely see where it landed, but he has a double that scores a run. And more importantly, it moves both runners out of the double play positioning. Tell you that right fielder Danicula played that like it went out of the ballpark. Looked like he turned back towards the infield and then he went running after the ball. Regardless, the Otters are going to score a run, move both runners out of the ground double play capabilities, and give Elijah McNamee a chance to add to it. Tarelis moves to third. Khalil heads to second. Felix scores. Elijah McNamee fouls off the first pitch he sees. He extended his on-base streak to 26 games last night at the very end of things. Needed a position player pitching in order to get it. But it doesn't matter how you get it. It just matters that you did. 3-2 the score now in favor of the Otters in the top of the fourth inning. McNamee has a chance to add to it. The 0-1. McNamee pushes it to the right side. It's going to get foul. It'll end up on the berm out there. McNamee had a really good stretch in the couple of games against Gateway and the series against Lake Erie, really starting to look like the big hit Mac that he was named at Mississippi State during his college days. The 0-2 towards McNamee. Low and in the dirt. Good stop from Stormus to keep it in front of him. Counts at 1-2. Villalobos desperately needs an out here. The Y'alls have a man warming up out there in left field. Believe it's Kent Kleiman, but I can't really tell. They are way out there at this ballpark. The 1-2, and McNamee fouls it back towards the netting, keeps himself alive. Count remains at 1-2. He can find a way on or avoid a double play. Miles Gordon is due up next. Runners on second and third, 1 out. Otters have already scored 1 in the half inning and lead by 1 in a 3-2 advantage. Villalobos sends home the 1-2. McNamee chops it foul again. Good defensive hitting from him. McNamee got to celebrate the 3-year anniversary just a couple weeks ago of one of the probably the biggest hit in his baseball career, the 3-run home run that lifted Mississippi State into the College World Series. It won them that super regional. Come a long way since then. 3 years with the Otters now. The 1-2 to Elijah McNamee. Zooms one out towards center field. Brocato doesn't have to move too far for this one. Hauls it in for out number 2. Both runners will try to advance, but the only one that will advance is Tarelis as Khalil returns back to second and a run scores on the sac fly RBI from Elijah McNamee. That will do just as good as an RBI base hit, and he gets just as much love from his dugout as he heads back in. Otters lead by 2 now after the sac fly RBI, and it brings up Miles Gordon, who's already 2 for 2 in the game with a single and a double. Defense will play with a hard shift to the right. In fact, the second baseman is playing basically shallow right field. First offering to Miles Gordon. On the way. Ooh, nice off speed. Just glance towards the outside half of the plate. Gordon let it go by, and it's a called strike 1. The 0-1 to Miles Gordon with a runner on second and 2 outs. They're going to go check on the runner, and time was called prior to the throw. Tell you what, Miles Gordon might have just saved George Khalil's skin out there at second. But Khalil seemed to know that time was called. He didn't really make an attempt to hurry back to second. So 0-1 is the count to Miles Gordon. 2 outs, runner on second. Otters have already scored a pair in the inning and lead by 2. The 0-1 to Miles Gordon. Swinging strike 2. Hefty cut there. As long as Brett Adcock heads back out to the mound and records an out, it's his longest start since his debut with the Otters all the way back in May. The 0-2 count for Miles Gordon with a runner on second and 2 outs. Trying to earn another RBI. 0-2 outside ball 1. If Gordon can do something with his at-bat, Jeffrey Baez is, well, at this point, just patiently waiting for his at-bat over there on the right side at-bat or on-deck circle. 1-2 the count. They're going to go check on Khalil. He's back in time. He didn't really have any place to slide into. A good work from Chavez there at shortstop to make it tough for him to find a place to slide. Still a 1-2 count with 2 outs for Miles Gordon. And finally, here comes the 1-2 pitch. Pushed out to the right side. Will it get foul? It does at the very last second. Looked fair from here, but it must have glided too far to the right before it was snagged by the first baseman, Price. And it's just a lot of running for everybody to turn around and go right back. 1-2 still the count for Miles Gordon. Jeffrey Baez, who's standing in the on-deck circle, is currently taking warm-up swings left-handed, despite being a righty. 1-2, still the count for Miles Gordon. Just like the couple of men in front of him, staying defensive at the plate. And here comes the 1-2. Swinging strike 3. Another strikeout for the Otters, but they score 2 more runs. One on an RBI double from Khalil, the next on a sacrifice fly RBI from Elijah McNamee. We head to the bottom half of the 4th inning. Otters lead 4-2. To the bottom of the fourth we go, and Brett Adcock returns to the mound for the Otters. They've taken a 4-2 lead after 2 more runs in the fourth. One on an RBI double from Khalil. The next on a sac fly from Elijah McNamee. Brocado so far in the game with 1 strikeout. He was caught looking at a pitch that went by across the zone his first time up. Takes a couple pitches off the plate, counts it 2-0. I imagine that within the next inning or so, we'll likely see the Otters bullpen start to have someone stretching and tossing just so that they've got someone available, as Adcock's pitch count has been working up like it has in his previous starts. He's working efficiently in this game, or working well in this game, just not working efficiently like he has in those last couple of games, racking up the pitches very quickly. And it's a 4-pitch walk that allows Anthony Brocado to reach the leadoff man. First time he's allowed the leadoff man to get on base since the first inning. That'll bring up the catcher, Andres Stormus, who had a single in the second inning, came around to score on Ray Zuberer's 2-run home run. Defense will move in to halfway to try for the double play. And Adcock readies himself on the first pitch to Stormus. Catches the outside edge just barely for a called strike 1. Adcock trying to hurry along faster than his last couple half innings. Gets another called strike, this one on the off speed. Tell you what, he's now thrown, that last pitch was an off speed at 72. He's gone from 72 all the way up to 91 so far in this game. The 0-2 to Andres Stormus. Reaching out and fouling it back into the net, into the backstop. Good work from Stormus to stay defensive. Defense is straight up all the way around in double play positions, except for Miles Gordon out in center field, who's maybe 8 feet to his left side, or to our left side. Not too much out there. Does leave a big hole out there in right center field. 0-2 the count. On the way home, it works inside, and Felix has to hustle over to keep it in front of him. So the count's at 1-2 for Andres Stormus. Runner at first is Anthony Brocado, who reached on the inning starting walk. The 1-2 gets through the legs of Felix all the way back to the backstop, and Brocado will reach second on the pass ball. And for Felix, that's the 8th pass ball for him on the season. Still not too bad for him. 8 pass balls across over 170 innings. 2-2 is the count towards Andres Stormus. No outs here with a runner on second. The Owls trail by a pair after the Otters were able to score 2 in the fourth on a double of Khalil's and a sac fly of McNamee's. 2-2 count to Stormus. This one's lifted high out towards right center field. Long run for McNamee. He's the one who hauls it in for out number 1. The long throw meets Khalil there at short, and the runner will not go anywhere. That'll bring up the left fielder, Ian Bibaloni, who struck out his first time up. A strikeout looking as well. In fact, in that second inning, despite giving up 2 runs, Brett Adcock struck out all 3 of the outs he got, and all 3 were strikeout looking. Andy Armstrong's going to play very close to second base, trying to keep the runner Brocado close. Everybody else playing as if they're expecting Bibaloni to pull it to the left side. First pitch to Bibaloni. Hit hard towards left. It's going to end up on the berm in left field for a long strike 1. Tell you what, this ballpark has about 4 or 5 inches of foul ground between the outfield wall and infield play, or in play, there in the last probably 35 or 40 feet to the wall. We saw Baez go falling across it last night and pulling in and out. But you got to be careful as a left or right fielder trying to haul down some of those balls that are carrying towards foul territory that you don't run hard into that wall. Kind of like we've seen at Bossy Field with a couple individuals running into the walls in the giant foul areas. 0-1 zoomed by for a called strike two, or a swinging strike two. And Adcock really didn't even go too much harder with it, only at 82 mile an hour. So it's an 0-2 count to Ian Bibaloni. Runner on second, 1 out. Working now in the middle stages of this game. Breeze is starting to blow out towards right center field. The 0-2 hangs just a bit too low for ball one. Adcock really taking his time between some of these pitches as we work through the fourth inning here. The 1-2 stays low and inside, and the count advances to 2-2. If Adcock can find a way to work into the and potentially finish the fifth inning, I would consider that a huge win for him. Regardless of how the outcome looks, if he can make it through 5 complete innings, it would be a huge accomplishment for him after struggling to make his pitch count last him deep into games. Two the count to Ian Bibaloni. There's a runner on second and 1 out. Otters lead by 2. 2-2 on the way home. Swinging strike 3. And that is the 5th German American Bank strikeout of the game for Brett Adcock. And with 2 outs and 1 on out there at second, the 9-hole hitter Ray Zuber steps up. He scored the last 2 runs for the Y'alls, a 2-run home run back in the second. If he were to hit one in the exact same way he did that last time, the wind's actually kind of helping him out towards right center field now. First pitch offered by Adcock is a called strike on the outside edge. Again with the changeup there. We see the right half of the defense playing really deep. Both Sinsley and Armstrong basically off of the infield dirt. 0-1 misses outside, count evens up. Tarelis is keeping things pretty close there at third, just in case he's needed to cover it. George Khalil trying to hang close to second base, trying to keep the runner Anthony Brocato nearby. 1-1 the counts. The pitch is way outside for Adcock for ball 2. Quick yelling discussion between McNamee and Gordon in right and center field, just discussing a couple of positioning ideas. In between pitches there. Count is still 2-1 for Ray Zuberer. Fired home by Adcock. There came the curveball. Oh, it just missed on the low outside corner. Competitive pitch there. A hard one to lay off, I'm sure, for Ray Zuberer. And he's ahead in the count 3-1. Crowd has filled in really nicely here at Thomas More Stadium on a beautiful Thursday evening from Florence, Kentucky. 3-1 the count. Pitch on the way to Zuberer. It's a called strike on the outside edge, and the count is full. Barring a strikeout, we would start to look through the Fox Sports WYFX Frontier League scoreboard. If not, I'll let you know next inning where things are at. 3-2 is the count towards Ray Zuber. He calls time. Ready to go once again now. The runner on second is Anthony Brocato. Reached base on a walk and then went to second on a pass ball. Payoff pitch. Lifted high and foul to the left side. Tarelis thinks he's underneath it, and he is indeed for out number 3. And it's another scoreless inning pitched by Adcock. We head to the 5th inning. Otters lead by a pair on the Otters Digital Network. New arm on the mound to head into the top half of the 5th inning for the Yells. They're going to ask Kent Kleiman, the lefty out of Williamsburg, Virginia, to come in out of the bullpen. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends from BCS. Contact Business Communication Solutions for all your business solution needs. And it is Kleiman on the mound. Stormus behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Leading off the half inning for the Otters will be Jeffrey Baez. Been on base once with a walk, but it's been his defensive play in the first inning that has highlighted his day. If you want to go see that, that is posted on our Twitter at Evansville Otters. Go check it out from the first inning. It is a beautiful play out there in left field. Not the first time this year he has been able to gun a runner down. First pitch to Baez, low inside, ball 1 to get the day started for Kent Kleiman. Defense set up pretty much identical to where they've been most of the night. Baez pushes one to the left side. Played simply by Zuber, and it's over to first and plenty of time for out 1. Wind is starting to, more of a breeze, not really wind, is brushing towards right center field a little bit more now. Could benefit this man here. Steven Sinsley already has one home run in the game. Crushed that one to right field. First offering to Steven Sinsley. Called strike at the low side of the zone. They have a promotion here at Florence where there's an individual out there in right center field in front of a Kia sign. And he can't move, but if he catches a home run ball out there, he wins a free car. But I'm pretty sure I heard that it has to be a Y'all's hitter for him to win if he were to catch it. So it'd be nice to see Steven Sinsley send one his way. 1-1 is the count. Towards Sinsley, thinks about going around, lets it go by, and it's strike two. That's right in his wheelhouse. Due up next, J.R. Davis and Justin Felix in the half inning. Sinsley ready for the 1-2. Crushes it out towards right center field, going that way, and it is gone to the exact same place he did it earlier. He knew it right off the bat. And the Otters lead by 3 after the second home run of the day from Steven Sinsley. Crushed another ball right at the American flag in right center field. Tell you what, the Otters have become one of, if not the biggest, home run threat in the Frontier League. It'll bring up J.R. Davis, who has already hit a home run in this series as well. 2 for 3 on the day for Steven Sinsley. They're both home runs to right center. Ball is chopped to the right side and foul. Sinsley has put himself through a pretty good last few games. Reached base in 8 straight, and in 6 of those 8, he has home runs. A low pitch is swung through by Davis. It actually bounced in there, and it's a swinging strike two. Defense resorts to super deep in the inside infielders. The outside infielders are playing about halfway. J.R. Davis ready for the 0-2. Pitch on his way. Pushes it to the right side and foul. Will end up over there on the berm again. After being held without a home run on Tuesday evening, it was the first time in 9 games the Otters were held without a home run. They've hit 4 combined in last night and tonight. The 0-2. Davis skies it high and gets it out of play. It's fouled back to the concourse. Davis working his way back inside the batter's box with an 0-2 count, with a couple nice foul offs in his last couple pitches he's had. The 0-2 to Davis, pushes it to the right side, foul yet again. Might want to check the car when you get out to the parking lot. That one went screaming towards the area the cars are actually parked in. 0-2 the count to J.R. Davis. He's fouled away 4 straight pitches. On the way, pushed to the right side, again fouled off to the right side. Textbook defensive hitting for him. Just keeping himself alive. It does look like there's another arm that has been tossing for the Y'alls out in right field. The 0-2 to Davis yet again. This one sent to the right side, but fair, and it'll be an easy play for Price on the pop-up. Two down, no one on. Otters have scored 1 in the half inning, and the catcher Justin Felix heads to the plate. He's 0 for 1 on the day. The whole infield playing deep, hoping for the sure thing out here. Felix struck out in the second, walked in the fourth, came around to score. on George Khalil's RBI double. First pitch to Felix, and it's a hefty swing on a low inside pitch for strike one. The Otters, since starting West Division play at the beginning of June, are 14-5. 2 of those 5 losses coming in the last 2 nights. 0-1 bounces in. The count evens up at 1-1. In fact, it was the first time since the road trip to Canada nearly a month ago that the Otters had lost back-to-back games. It's also the first time the Otters have lost a series since the 3-game set at Trois-Rivières. A 1-1 to Felix. He lets it go by. Just broke a little too much, ended up low. It's a 2-1 count. We'll start to take a look through the Fox Sports Wyfx Frontier League scoreboard. In the top of the 6th, Sussex County, Ottawa, tied at 2 runs apiece. Sussex is looking for a 3-game sweep at Ottawa. That would be one of the biggest surprises of this week. A 2-1 called strike. Count evens at 2-2. Trois-Rivières has a 7-6 lead at Tri-City. Washington leading Lake Erie 4-1. Boulders and Capitales tied in the first inning, still scoreless there. New Jersey holds a 3-0 lead over Empire State in the 4th. Windy City up 1-0 at Joliet in the 3rd. Felix skies one out towards right field. Going back towards the wall is DeNicola. Gone! The second home run of the half inning. Another solo home run. This one is for the catcher, Felix. You know, I was sitting down at batting practice today, talking with Elijah McNamee, and I said, no way that with the wind like this, you guys aren't going to hit a couple outs. And, well, that's now the 3rd home run of the day for the Otters and the 5th in the series. 2nd one of this inning, and the lead is now 4 for Evansville. And a man who hit his first professional home run last night heads to the plate now, Anthony Tarelis. He's 1 for 1 with a single and a walk so far in this game. Takes a ball on the inside to start the count. Last night, Tarelis was 2 for 4. One of 2 multi-hit games for the Otters last night. Next pitch stays low, and it's a 2-0 count. 2-0 counts. On the way, and just sent right back into the netting by Anthony Tarelis. I've only made the mistake once so far, but Tarelis looks enough like Gary Mattis, and he's wearing his jersey number, that I've gotten them confused just once since Mattis's contract was purchased by the Diamondbacks. Ball is put foul to the right side. Almost a spectacular catch out there by a kid. But the count evens up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. The same count that Justin Felix hit his home run to right field. Kleiman ready to go on the 2-2. Stays high, and the count's full. Seems like every time I look down, there's more people in the stands. It's been nice to see good attendance here in the last couple of nights. A 3-2 stays low, ball 4, and Anthony Tarelis is going to reach base for the 3rd time this evening. Really good to see him being so efficient at the plate here in his first couple of professional games. It will bring up the second baseman, Andy Armstrong, who so far on the day is 0 for 2 with a flyout and a strikeout. With a 4-run lead, I would not discount a bunt here just to utilize his strengths. You never really know when he's going to drop one. That's kind of his strength, I would say, is that a lot of the time he'll catch a defense napping. If the third baseman's playing further away than he would like, he hands him a bunt to the left side. Again, the defense playing deep, just trying to get the final out of this inning. They've given up a pair of runs for the third time in the game. The 1-0 right back at Kleiman. He says, thank you very much. Throws to first in time, but not before the Otters score a pair of runs each on solo home runs. One for Steven Sinsley, one for Justin Felix. And after 4.5, it's Otters 6, Y'alls 2 on the Otters Digital Network. To the bottom of the 5th inning we go. And Brett Adcock and the Otters retake the field. Due up for Florence is the 1-2-3 hitters of Joe Lytle, Alberti Chavez, and Harrison DeNicola. First pitch from Adcock. Competitive pitch. Did he go? Yes, he did, says the third base umpire, Kevin Furman. And it's an 0-1 for Lytle. Like to see Adcock start off the inning challenging on that breaking ball that breaks away. Adcock was north of 80 pitches when we started this inning. Now he works inside, misses in there, and the count's even at 1-1. Defense set up pretty normally, straight up all the way around. A hefty swinging strike 2 from Joe Lytle. He falls to a 1-2 count. Still don't see anyone warming up for the Otters. Good sight to see out there. The 1-2 for Joe Lytle. That one stays low, bounces in, counts at 2-2. Lytle DHing once again tonight. He made one quick appearance on Tuesday night's game. Started last night, but was replaced in the middle. Looking at a 2-2 now. Oh boy, just misses on the inside edge. Competitive pitch there from Brett Adcock, but the count heads to full. Deep breath from the kid up on the mound. The 3-2 headed home. Right back up, and it's past Andy Armstrong into right center field. Miles Gordon making a long run to it. The throw to second will not be in time. I think Gordon tried to hurry the throw, and it's a heads-up play from Lytle to earn 2 bases. That will bring up the shortstop Alberti Chavez, who's 0 for 1. Alberti Chavez though hitless tonight, managed 4 hits in last night's game. All 4 of them were singles. And on Tuesday evening, he managed an RBI double as well. As always, when Adcock's got a runner on, he takes a long time between some of his pitches. First offering bounces past Felix. And it'll get Lytle to third with no outs. Wouldn't be surprised if we see an Otter start to throw out there and left just to be safe. Of course, the worry now is that there's just enough sunlight down there. I was told by our bullpen catcher, Brody Tanksley, that where he sets up, all he can see is sun when trying to warm up the pitcher. Still doesn't look like anyone's tossing as of yet. 1-0's the count towards Alberti Chavez. Oh, I thought that one was going to get called on that inside edge. Worked just a bit too far in there. And the count's at 2-0. Getting a little bit more breeze now as the American flag out in right center field is blowing towards the right side. 2-0 the count, and calling time at the plate is Alberti Chavez. Just past the halfway point in this game, Otters lead 6-2. High fly ball to right field. McNamee with a long run towards the wall, able to slow himself down in time. That missed home run coverage by about 6 feet. So the count goes to 2-1 for Chavez. Don't forget that Evansville continues the road trip tomorrow night. 6:05 Evansville time will be first pitch from Lake Erie. 2-1 to Chavez. A check swing, and it's a called strike 2. Don't forget that if you want to stay up to date with the latest news and promotions from the Evansville Otters, you can visit EvansvilleOtters.com, subscribe to the Otters e-newsletter by clicking Join Our e-news, and you will get every update from the Otters directly to your email. 2-2 on the way to Chavez. He extends the hand, pushes it towards the right side. McNamee with a long run, grabs it for the first out. The run will score very easily, though, and it's a sac fly RBI for Alberti Chavez to take the lead to 3. But the Otters will probably be happy that at least they get an out and have no one on base now with 1 out. That'll bring up the right fielder, Harrison DeNicola. 0 for 1 with a strikeout and a walk so far. He's taken a long time to get into the box. Now he's ready to go. Adcock looks like he already had his decision ready to go because he's tossing him the first pitch now. Goes with that off speed and glides it in there for a called strike 1. That has been a really effective pitch so far, 74 mile an hour. The 0-1 to DeNicola. Again a called strike. Breaking ball caught the zone. Adcock shakes out both arms and collects on the 0-2. Bounces in there. Felix able to stop it, although with no one on it didn't matter too much. And the count heads to 1-2. We just passed the 2-hour mark, just past the halfway point in the game, though. 1-2 the count to DeNicola. A ball the low outside edge. After a couple breaking balls, started the count 0-2. Adcock has not been able to hit the zone in the last 2 pitches. Sends home a 2-2. Works a little bit closer, but still outside, and the count's full. You hang that ball any closer, and a guy will likely take you yard. Defense playing deep for the Otters. As Adcock readies on the 3-2 towards DeNicola. It's sent foul back into the netting, and DeNicola will live to see another pitch. This is the Otters' last trip to Florence until the, last weekend of the regular season. September 2nd, 3rd, and 4th is when they will make their second and final trip to Florence this year. The 3-2 pushed out to the left side. Khalil will retreat back towards shallow left and make the catch for out number 2. So with no one on and 2 outs, the first baseman, Brennan Price, makes his way to the plate. He is 1 for 2 with a single in the 3rd inning. If you missed the memo, both in our show last night's and parts today, Brian White, the manager for the Owls, still not eligible to coach due to some of the look-ats that the league is having with the altercation that happened Tuesday night with, at the time, home plate umpire Kurt Brannon. Still no decision that I've heard, at least, made by the Frontier League, at least no public decision. Price takes ball 1 in the dirt, and it's a 1-0 count. Adcock gets one sent right back up at him. He goes rolling off the mound as that one almost clipped him, and it's a 2-out base hit for Brennan Price. Almost hit Adcock on the way back up. He tried to avoid it with his ankle, and because of it, went rolling off, and that will cause Max Peterson to make a walk up onto the mounds. There is a man warming up out there for the Otters. By the very small look I have, it looks like it's probably Jacob Bowles. Max Peterson has reached the mound and is bringing the entire infield in to have a chat with his man, Brett Adcock. Already a better start for Brett Adcock than he's had in the last 2. And Peterson will make the walk back, so he must be okay with how things look. The rosin bag gets passed around by all the